and ransom captive Israel that mourns in lonely exile here until the Son of God appears. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, thou rod of Jesse, free thine own from Satan's tyranny. From the depths of hell thy people save, and give us victory, over the grave. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Shall come to thee, O Israel.
Season's greetings, Nigeria. Oh, I look like a cowboy. Hi, ladies. I'm just seeing myself for the first time.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Season's greetings, ladies.
Yeah, compliments of the season.
How goes it?
To you too. Beautiful, I guess.
This is my favorite time of the year, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, so I've all morning I've just been dancing around and jumping. Super excited for
What
today's
makes it your favorite time?
Because, it's Christmas, family. That's it for me. Just basically from, just growing up, went to a boarding school. You look forward to Christmas because you just get to spend time with everyone. Now, extended family, not just the nuclear family. So, yeah, I think that's why it's my favorite holiday season.
How about you?
It's a great holiday season because of the feeling in the air. It's just like everyone should always be happy in Christmas season, even if okay, there are people who are in the hospitals and all that, but I wouldn't even mind going to share the joy with them. It's just a beautiful season that everyone wants to be happy about and all that. But I have a little but because, media, we have to work. Holidays are not always the best.
Well, I hope the the Christmas bug actually catches the political scene because as of right now, it absolutely hasn't. The police arrest mastermind of Kuje in Yanyam bombing. We have some pictures of that. Finally, I'm sure you were all here in Abuja when that occurred. The Yanyam bombing was left so many people, so many families devastated. So we're very happy to see that this criminal has been brought to books. On the other hand, the new data by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the number of unemployed Nigerians has risen to 20.9 million from 17.6 million.
This definitely trended on social media. A lot of people were talking, and it's really, really sad, really, because you see a lot of young people. But at a time like this, I know I was somewhere yesterday, and we're asking the questions. What was your highest point this year and your lowest point? And someone said, I got a job, and it touched me really. To see that in as much as so many things are not going well, young people appreciate the fact that they have the opportunity to work. So I feel like if the government can do something about young people want to work. So I think it would be great if the government can do something about this.
I just picked something from what Ina said. What was the high point in the year? And he said, I got a job. We've gotten to the level where job is number one on your goal objective. When people write their goals for the year, job is number one. I don't think that's correct. I think it shows the failure of government.
Most definitely. But then again, I always wonder, is job creation just the sole prerogative of the government, or should private sector think of creating more jobs?
Now, that is easy if the government makes the environment enabling for private sector. If private sector knows that they can walk into a regulatory agency and get what they need without having to come back with hampers and come back with gifts to ensure they push something, without looking for how to get light to produce what you need to produce, without thinking of how the roads will be bad if you want to transport goods. I think if those things happen, if we all are happy and we can pay our taxes as when due and we get good value for the taxes, I think everyone will sit down and say, okay, let's produce this, let's have an industry here, because it's easier to do.
To play devil's advocate, I think creating an enabling environment for business to thrive has become such a cliche. In this administration, we've seen various tax breaks to small and medium scale businesses. We've seen that the government is trying to limit the amount of imports and increase the number of exports. So we see that the government is making some laudable efforts. So I believe that they should also place a demand on the private sector that they need to meet setting benchmarks in job creation to reduce this number.
Definitely.
But moving on, Nigeria's Labour Congress threatens to resume nationwide strike. We talked about this last week on our political segment. We've talked about it for, I believe, the past 2 or 3 months, the nationwide strikes. By January 2nd, 2019, if the federal government fails to meet the issued December 31st deadline. I remember when we had the liaison to the National Assembly for the Nigeria Labour Congress on the program, and he said, we're in the media, we've talked about this severally, we're not in bed with politicians in the sense that we called for a strike, and at the very last minute called it off because they had met our demand to sign this. But now it's very interesting to see just a week later, they're coming out to say that, threaten the federal government again.
Yeah, I heard they even walked out of the meeting. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to be talking about this on the weekend.
Yes. But I feel like Nigerians are losing their trust in the Nigeria Labour Congress. They are not very straightforward in their call for strike action. You know, they call for it today and workers are ready to stay at home. Then the next minute, right before, they say, oh no, we've called off the strike.
You just hit the nail on the head, but that's not what I was going for. I was going to, you know how you have a family and then you have 2 kids, you have maybe 6 children and 2 are your favorites, and then everyone knows that those 2 are your favorites, you can't touch them. That's what I think the NLC they're doing. That's why they're losing the trust. The civil servants are their favorites, so they focus on those guys. They will cripple the economy for those guys. But the guys in private sector, if they feel that NLC has their back and they call for a strike, everywhere will ground to a halt and the government will respond. I think it's dragging on, it's taking longer because they're not having the required effect.
Yes, I completely agree. A bit of sad news. Nigeria's former Chief of Defense Staff, Alex Bade, was shot dead on his way back from his farm. Initially, when the report broke, they said he wasn't with any of his security details, but former Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode, had visited the home of Alex Bade and found out that he was with 4 of his security details who were not touched during this assassination. The PDP, the People's Democratic Party, the opposition party, has called for an investigation into the alleged assassination of Alex Bade, former Chief of Defense Staff. A lot of reactions from social media, I believe you'll have later on in the program, was that if the former Chief of Defense Staff can be killed like a common criminal, how do we measure the safety of every other Nigerian?
Definitely. It just shows that people are not safe, because there was even a vox pop that I was involved with over the week, and when I was watching, you know, and they were like, and even at a point there was a lady that said, even you carrying this mic, you're not safe, you know, and it definitely, it doesn't speak good of our security, you know, in the country if someone in this position can just, you know, these bandits can just get to him, and, you know, it doesn't, then the ordinary man on the road, right? So what happens to that man, basically?
You know how we have doubts about our security, and then you keep asking yourself, are we really safe or we're not? You don't want to really put that nail and say, oh, we're not safe in this country. The security guys can't keep us safe, you know. But this is like the final one, the final show, like, you know that you're not. That's what this sends. It's a message that it sends.
It's quite unfortunate. We look forward to the findings of that investigation. President Muhammadu Buhari, this hat makes me look so funny. President Muhammadu Buhari presents a 2019 budget to the National Assembly in December. Let's take a look at that video.
Has recovered from the economy has recovered from recession. And we had 6 quarters of growth since then. We have done more work with less resources in agriculture, infrastructure, and social investments. We have built better understanding between the federal government and the state on non-partisan fault lines, in particular intervening several times to support states to meet their obligations, including the payment of salaries and pensions. Sustained development is difficult, if not impossible, in an atmosphere of insecurity and poor governance. We have therefore made strenuous and successful efforts to overcome the insurgency in the Northeast and to resolve intercommunal misunderstanding elsewhere.
I must place on record that this is the first time an incumbent president is presenting a budget to an opposition National Assembly, an opposition parliament. So the jeers, the boos, the woos, I think should have all been, foreseen. Unfortunately, a couple of people have reacted that this is no way for the National Assembly to conduct themselves. As a matter of fact, the executive governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, had said that the lawmakers lack home training.
Okay.
Hence their booing of the president. Well, what do you ladies think?
Okay.
Do I really need to say something?
Say
like
the
this
truth.
Because I watched the video. I think no. I mean, no, they didn't have to boo him that way. No, because surely he said something the world is watching, and that's the truth at the end of the day, right? So things are not going on well. I feel like men and women are supposed to be good ambassadors no matter what. There's something they say, you don't wash your dirty linens outside in public. So in as much as there are things that are not going on well, that's why we have elections coming up next year, right? But don't do that, especially in that chambers. Respect the power, the chambers
but
that you're in.
some would argue that in terms of washing your dirty linens, the president has made a habit of doing that, especially to the international community.
Right?
The first place he goes when he has issues to talk about or to talk to Nigerians, he makes sure he's abroad.
Yeah.
It says, oh yes, we are fantastically corrupt. Yes, our youth are lazy. So, I mean, I feel like the lawmakers are just giving him a taste of his own medicine.
Wow.
See, I feel that if you're not content and you have the power that the National Assembly has, I think you can show it by doing what you're supposed to do and doing it right, instead of booing. So if I don't like the way Ina is doing something, I could say, Ina, you're not getting it right. Let me show you. That's the way to go.
I'm sorry. So if you've kept up to date with the relationship between the legislative arm of government and the executive, you must know that they've, fought about several issues day in, day out.
True.
The executive accuses the legislative arm of government of being fantastically corrupt. They've been inflating the budget, perpetrating all sorts of different criminalities, and they're accusing the presidency of dragging his feet, the executive arm of government of not doing enough to move the economy forward.
Have they done enough? The Senate, have they done enough individually in their constituencies?
The National Assembly as a whole, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, I think the onus falls on us as Nigerians. I personally believe that the National Assembly, the Parliament, is the fabric, the foundation of our society. I believe if we can get the National Assembly right, we can get the Parliament right, that Nigeria will move forward. So I think the discussion should not only fall, the 2019 budget, it's very political.
Yeah.
The senators and House of Assembly, House of Rep members want to add constituency projects to the budget.
Yeah, right.
The presidency is saying, no, that's just another form of corruption. But I think the onus falls on us, we Nigerians, to actually demand from them a heightened level of accountability, because our parliamentarians are very lackadaisical in their attitude towards setting laws and looking forward to the implementation, actually, fostering the implementation of these laws that will move the country forward. So I personally believe that if we can get it right, if we can get younger people into parliament, I think it's going to transform Nigeria for the better.
Fantastic.
Moving forward, a former lecturer of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Professor Richard Iyola Akindele, has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for demanding sex for marks. This story makes me very happy.
My smile is so wide.
This makes me happy because I saw some comments online that, oh, the sentencing was too harsh. Excuse me. This is a lecturer demanding sex from a student. In no way, shape or form is this ever acceptable. In fact, you should have spent 10 years in prison or more. You know, this is what derails a lot of students who are in school. People drop out because of lecturers like this. So I'm glad that his picture is on there. We need to name and shame individuals like this to stop others from doing it as well.
Should be a strong deterrent to others.
I agree.
Definitely, totally agree with you guys. You know, it happens in so many universities, right? So even growing up, it was something that, you know, your parents will even tell you, you know, if you're going to, you know, the federal universities, to be careful about things like this. So definitely it sounds as a warning to so many other lecturers that are doing this but have not been caught. So guess what? You'll be caught very soon.
And from reading stories, there's sort of a norm in university that
Yes,
in order
it
to
is.
pass, you
You
need
have
to
to.
either bribe with sex or bribe with monetary inducements.
Definitely. It happens in our Nigerian universities. It does.
It's quite unfortunate. It's
Yeah.
quite unfortunate. So I'm very happy that we're using this man as a scapegoat. Moving on, President Trump's former aide, Michael Flynn, faces sentencing for lying to the FBI. I don't want to talk Trump today, so I don't know if you ladies have anything else to say about this case.
I don't.
Let's Trump go on. I want to really talk about him next week, so I'm going to save that conversation for next week. Very lastly, Georgia swears in the first female president, Zurabishi. I hope I pronounced that right. Salome Zurabishi, the first female president of Georgia.
Fantastic. I think this is really, really great. I followed it, you know, but, you know, a lot of people were talking about her ties with Russia. You know, she's pro-Russia, but at the end of the day, look, I'm just here for the fact that a woman, you know, is leading a country. So definitely some even on the swearing in, some opponents, you know, tried to, there was a protest going on outside, but the police, they were able to, you know, stop all of it. But I think it's a great move for women in general. And I was watching something last night on BET, and someone was saying, what are you thankful for? And then she said 2018 for being the year of women, you know, women just gaining new heights. And I think that's just fantastic, really. Just not just in Nigeria, not just in America, but in Georgia. I mean, the first female president. I think it's fantastic, really.
Amazing news. How about sports? What happened this week?
Well, a big story came out. No, I was just sitting at home and trying to see if I could get a little nap, and then I just hear Jose Mourinho has been sacked. Manchester United manager has been sacked. I'm like, okay. It was a big shocker.
You didn't see that coming?
Yeah, saw it coming. There's no way. But you know how you see something coming and you keep telling yourself, maybe it's just a mirage. It won't happen. And then it happens and then it still shocks you. Okay, so I'm a little bit of a Mourinho fan. I like his self-principles. I like his discipline. But sometimes you can tell when it doesn't work. It's not working out. It's never going to work out. And that's what happened to him at Manchester United. And as much as we want to throw blames, point fingers, I think that the players will probably have theirs coming. They need to work hard. Basically, you can sack the manager. You can change 5 managers. They've had 3 managers in the last few years. So I think there's an inherent problem at the club. Maybe the players they have are not following the traditions of the club. But we also had Gary Neville reacted to that from a Manchester United player. Also, we had the Manchester United legend and captain Roy Keane, and he says this player has got away with murder. Yeah, so while he's talking about that, we'll talk about that on the show. Okay, and also for sports, we're talking about Ojo Ighalo. His club in China was relegated to the 2nd division, and he's saying his club in China.
Who?
Ojo Ighalo.
Oh, I thought you said Oji Kalu.
No. Ojo Ighalo.
I was like, oh, the former governor has a club?
His club was relegated to the Chinese 2nd division, and he's saying he
Oh,
can't play.
Ojo Igalo.
Yes.
Oh, I think he's even from Edo State.
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay. I can claim you.
And he says he can't play in the 2nd division because he has to think about the Nations Cup coming up next year. And still talking about sports, FIFA rankings came out, and also we look at the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations that has been seeded to Cameroon. And I think we talked about it sometime last week where Ivory Coast was supposed to host, but now it's been confirmed that Cameroon will host the 2021 Nations Cup. So more of that coming up in the sports segment later on in the show.
I look forward to that. How about you in entertainment?
You know, so many things happened this week. First off, media mogul Mo Abudu has joined the select group of directors of the International Academy of Television, Arts and Science. Now, that is the same body that is responsible for the Emmys that we know. I think it's fantastic to see Nigerians just playing key roles in the world. I know Omotola Jalade Ekende was just, you know, joined to the Oscars board of directors. And then we see Genevieve Nnaji's movie also being the first African movie, right, to be on Netflix, or the first Nigerian movie to be on Netflix. So I think that's the Lionheart movie that's now showing in cinemas by doing promo for her. Oh well. But yeah, I think it's fantastic to see Nigerians are just doing really, really well. So she took to her Instagram to officially announce to everyone. So congratulations, Mo Abudu. And then
I'm really proud of Mo
power to
Abudu,
women.
actually. I think for those of us in the media, she's definitely someone to look up to. The way she started from her program and built a network today, and her global, international, you know, accolades that she's received. I think it's truly something for young women like ourselves to emulate. So Mo Abudu, kudos. Well done, lady.
Right. Now the next one is, so Olamide and Leo Kesh, their new song, Ben's Logo, did stir up controversy this week again. Now apparently the song, if you listen, I'm not a Yoruba, but you know, people have been trying to dissect the song, and people are saying it promotes, you know, rituals, it promotes blood money, you know, and all of that conversation. So people have been coming for Olamide, saying, you know, he's used to doing things like this, you know, used to releasing songs that don't really teach our young ones, you know, the way forward. But the twist now is Olamide has actually responded, you know, saying that even in Nollywood movies, you know, they play these roles out. So why is it different that, you know, he is singing about it? Well, there's a theme line really. So I think I'll just leave it for you guys to decide. If you listen to the song, look, Ben's Logo, tell us what you think. Send us your tweets. Tell us what you think about the particular song. Do you think that it's a good song that should be played on our radios and all of that your children should listen to, or it should just totally be cancelled? And the next one is congratulations to Davido, Whiskey, Tiwa Savage as the top nomination list for Sound City MVP Awards Festival. Now, this is another big show that everyone looks forward to. So if you're like the best in the business, you know, are the ones that are always nominated here. So shout out to them. Talking about Tiwa Savage. I'm sorry, I just had to spill that small tea. So apparently Yemi Alade put something out there talking about stop editing your pictures to make your buttocks look bigger than it is. Yeah. And so I think one thing led to another thing, and Tiwa Savage caught the sub, and then she replied, and she started posting pictures, you know, of her, you know, her her waist and showing us that, okay, it's not really photoshopped and all of that. So people are now saying, oh, truly there might be some tension between Yemi Alade and Tiwa Savage, because they're both great artists, female artists. Yeah, so at the end of the day, Yemi Alade has actually apologized. She's saying, you know what, love your body the way you are. Okay, if you have big, fine. If you're slim, if you are fat, if you're tall, if you're short, whatever. She just wants women to embrace their body, Yeah, that's all.
Interesting. That's all?
That's pretty much all I have.
Awesome. Did you speak about the Cardi B and...
so, I wasn't really going to talk about it because from the beginning, I did feel like it was just all publicity stunt, because we know Offset is going to be dropping music really, really soon. But it was a tricky, dicey situation because Offset, right, when the whole breakup thing happened, right, there was this lady that came on and apologized and cried to Cardi B. But guess what? The other day, Cardi B posted something about, she's sitting pretty somewhere. And then the lady now said, I'm sitting and I'm going to your man's house. Right? So it's definitely dicey. And now I saw a picture of them this morning. I saw a picture of them. They were together, Offset and Cardi B were spotted together for the first time since after the public speech. So I just feel like it was some sort of publicity stunt. That's what I think. That's my own opinion.
Interesting times ahead. Well, I look forward to the social media trends and the sports segment of the weekend show. But right now, we'll take a break and we'll be back with this cowboy hats in a short while. Don't go anywhere.